This is the punctual Matt.
Oh, God, me punctual? No way. Welcome, everyone, to an emergency edition of Stack Your Live. We've got RJ from DT Cards. RJ, how are you today?
You know, I woke up, I went into the Stack Your Points Discord, and there were over 500 messages when I checked it for the first time. So I am good. I don't hold the Sapphire Reserve, so I might be the happiest person in our Discord right now.
I'm all right. And we were also joined by Craig, also Kid Cat. How are you today, Craig?
I just got back from vacation. I have a tiny little virus. My back hurts. My body hurts. But we have credit card news, so I can't be too mad.
Yes, we do. And Craig has the new designs for the Sapphire Reserve and Sapphire Reserve business card behind him. So there we go. The more I look at the Sapphire Reserve refresh, like it is like snake skin, crocodile skin type texture, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I do like the business design. I just don't think I'm going to get that card anytime soon. So yeah, big news up top. New Sapphire cards. New Sapphire Reserves. And we're going to call them New Sapphire Reserves. Like you'd think, oh, it's a refresh. What are you talking about? These are effectively brand new cards because the old Sapphire Reserve was travel focused and Chase has decided, why not a lifestyle card? Amex has a lifestyle card. Amex has a lifestyle subscription masquerading as a card. Why don't we do that? And here we go. So, everybody saw what you're doing. Mac Lessons Online. I don't care if you're at a barbershop, unplug the cord and turn up the volume. Micah, thank you so much for that. I've been on all day. June 9th, I was not approved for the United Gateway with Adventure X. However, a few hours ago, Amex gave me a Hilton Surpass with a pretty healthy limit. Feels good. Surpass is a really good card.
Love it.
Just coming from Joe's Live. Glad to be here. John R. hit 1K. Good job.
Good job, John.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone who contributed to that. I made a pitch on my live earlier. I went live with Joe at around 1 o'clock. We went on for about 2 hours. But I'm here with the podcast. I'm here with my co-hosts. So had to be done. Sapphire Reserve, really high details. $7.95 annual fee, $195 authorized user fee. That one hurts. You get 8 times points on booking all travel through the portal. That is all travel through the portal. So flights, hotels, cruises, attractions, tours, vacation rentals are coming for the Sapphire Reserve in July, and the Sapphire Reserve for business. Freedom cards can book vacation rentals as well in the portal. So there you go. 8 times points on all of that. 4 times points on hotels and flights booked directly with the card. 3 times points on dining. 1 times points on everything else. This card has lost its travel capability. How do we feel about that?
So can I ask one question before we answer that question?
Yeah.
How powerful is the authorized user card? Because I know some authorized user cards are basically not great, and some are you get almost everything of the main card. So on a scale of like 1 to 10, if you got an authorized user, are you just getting into lounges or are you also getting some of the credits?
You're getting lounges and TTP.
Okay.
It also depends on which cards you get, because if you get the business, you might not if you're getting one of the free cards.
Yes. So that is a major distinction. The Sapphire Reserve, the personal Sapphire Reserve, authorized users get TTP and access to lounges. I don't know if they get guest privileges as well. I believe they do. I'm not 100% sure. If you add employee cards to the Sapphire Reserve for business, there is no fee to add an employee card. The employee card does not carry lounge access or TTP. So
explain TTP for people who might not know.
Sorry, TTP is Trusted Traveler Program. That is global entry, TSA pre-check. If you cross the Canadian border, often Nexus. If you cross the Mexican border, often Sentry. Those programs are known as TTP. Typically, it's $120 now for global entry. cards will waive that fee. Travel cards will waive that fee, or lifestyle cards masquerading as travel cards will waive that fee. And you do it every 4 years. I just finished the process of getting my global entry card. Excited about that. Excited that I get to go through the TSA line now and not have to take off my shoes, not have to open my bag. Life is good.
I think all of the Stack Your Points hosts now can go through the fast lane. I think we all at least have. I know Treek just got, I think, pre-check. I don't know if it's global entry, but it's at least pre-check. So at least domestically, the 5 of us could, in theory, go in the fast lane.
My wife also did an interview on re-entry, so happy for that there. So I can finally stop leaving her in the line.
I appreciate the fact that you're like, I love you, honey. I'm gonna go, because that's my philosophy in life. So I appreciate that.
100%. 100%.
There we go.
To answer your question, Matt, answer your question before I interrupted you,
yes.
I think losing 3x travel is a bigger deal for the people who don't have the breadth of cards that most people in our Discord, let's say, have, right? Like, if you have 4 cards and you're just with maybe Amex and Chase, right? Like, you have a gold card, you've got the Sapphire Reserve because it was a little bit less than the platinum, or the platinum credits just didn't work for you, or you liked, whatever. I think it's a big deal. Now look, there are other options, right? Like, if you're in Amex at all, there's the Amex Green, which will give you that 3x all the way around, plus 3x on dining if you want MR points. But I think, like, as much as we all talk, and we were talking in the Discord today about, well, you can get the Wells autograph journey, and you can do this, and you can do this backdoor, and you can do that. And those are all valid points. But if you have 3 or 4 credit cards and maybe you love to travel, but you don't want to have to hack anything, you just want to be able to use your card, get those points, and then either turn around and use them in the portal or transfer them and use them, I think that's a really big hit to those people. And I think we don't give enough credit to the fact that that's most of the actual community. Like, that is most of the people who have credit cards, and even most of the people who like credit cards. They don't have a half dozen to a dozen credit cards. So I think those are the people I think most hurt by these changes, because they're the ones who are not necessarily going to have that desire, even if they know how to do it, have that desire to turn around and like take Wells and move it to places where they can get more value out of it.
I also want to point out, I think this is a hard hit for people that are living in cities. We just got back from London, my wife and I, and for public transit, we each spent about $130 for the week. Granted, we could have gotten an Oyster card and minimized some of that travel cost, but it just didn't make sense. We know we're not going back to London probably this year, maybe next year, who knows? But think about that. Somebody that's truly commuting, or somebody that lives in New York, Chicago, one of these major cities, if transit is truly, I'm spending close to what, $300, $400, $500 a month. That is a huge loss, especially if, I own, to RJ's point, I only have a few cards. I think it's a big boost for the Amex Green. It's a big boost for the Wells Fargo autograph. And a lot of those cards that we, kind of bag on to say, well, what's the superpower? I think the superpower now is you can't get 3x UR for travel and transit.
Yeah. It's also like, it also is not a great card if you don't live in a city, right? Because I was looking at it. I did a review of the card. If I didn't have, I sort of put my personal cards away for a minute and said, okay, if I wanted to get this card, what of those credits could I actually use? I can't use any of the dining credit. Like, I am not remotely near a city that does that. A lot of looking at the reviews of the hotels are grossly priced higher in the portal or in the editor, whatever it is, versus just booking directly. So I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I will get 1 more point per dollar if I book directly, which is good. But those credits that are going to quote offset that annual fee, like, they're not great if you don't live in a city. But also, if you live in a city and are using transportation, you're also not getting those benefits. So I think it is more of a niche card now than it was a week ago or a day ago. And I think that is a weird thing to do for your top end card.
Not just that, I think not only is it far more niche, it feels like it doesn't have a true identity. Um, it even I guess when you look at the platinum, right? You know the profile of person that we're trying to hit here. Um, it's trying to be an entertainment card, but there's no entertainment multiplier here on the new reserve. It's trying to be a dining card. The and the dining multiplier stayed the same, but also outside of somebody that's going to like a Michelin star restaurant or one of these super duper high end restaurants, which if that's you for a daily basis, by all means, I love that for you. But for me, that's just not a viable course of action to have a card for, right? And then also, and this is just anecdotally speaking, I've not had enough data points to say this for sure, but also the edit is slightly more expensive than just using FHR or even Capital One lifestyle collection.
Or booking directly. Like that is like it even those portals that add a little bit like are more expensive, but then booking directly blows it out of the water, especially if you have status, right? Like if you have status in this, forget it. To Filmo's point, yes, I do think Chase wants new card holders, but I don't think this card is a better for most people. And I have to couch that with saying for most people, because there's some people this card now works great for. If you walk to work in New York City and eat at the places and stay at the hotels, this card might be great for you, right? Like it may work out. But I think that for newer people, the updated annual fee, some of the way the credits work, all of that, I don't know who this card is for in terms of like I can if I'm going to recommend the platinum or the gold or even like the Freedom Unlimited or the Freedom Flex or whatever, right? Like or the Ventrex, right? Like all of those cards, I have a person in mind that I would recommend those to. Now, obviously, you need to know their specifics, how much they spend, what they spend it on, things like that. But I have a general idea of who I would recommend those cards to. I don't actually know who I would recommend the Sapphire Reserve to, except for somebody like you, Craig, who's in a Sapphire lounge, more than he's not, right? Like, and maybe that, but also you could also live without the Sapphire Lounge because there are other lounge options, right? Like you prefer it. It is nice. It is useful to you, but it's now not quite the value prop it was before. And if you're, say you start traveling with an assistant, right? For your work travel, say they gave you an assistant to travel with.
Oh, I wish.
And we're giving you an assistant and they're traveling with you, right? Like, would you recommend this card as a card to that assistant just to be able to get in the lounge with you, right? Like now we're starting to think about who we would actually a new person, right? Like to Filmo's point, and they want new people in. That's a harder card to recommend than it ever has been before with that multiplier dropping down with the credits they're using. So I'm interested to see their long-term marketing for this card. Like the platinum card, we all know how that's marketed. You want luxury, you get the platinum. You want, travel perks, you get the platinum. You want, $240 off your Disney Plus bundle, get the platinum, right? Like Amex knows exactly what that card is. Get the platinum. You don't have the platinum, get the platinum. Like that is the, you know what I mean? Like that is the play. But I don't know who the Sapphire is for. Like I don't. It's in a weirder place now and not in the good. Like when I say on the podcast, like make cards weird again, this is not what I mean.
Well, it's a new identity of the card. So the card is going to be a lifestyle card now. So, and again, the card launched 12 hours ago. So it's fair to ask who it fits for, but I also think it's unfair to say, oh, it's identityless because it's restarting as a lifestyle card. Now the question is, like, what sort of lifestyle is it fitting? Which is a totally fair question. I would much rather if it stayed a travel card. I would have preferred it keep the 3x travel multiplier, and some of the credits were a bit different. But I don't think it's nearly as bad as we're sort of worried that it will be. Like, I've seen a lot of negativity today,
I don't
and I don't know that it's warranted.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying it's a bad card. I want to make
Right.
that abundantly clear. And not just to you, Matt, to the listeners of the world. Right? I'm not saying it's a bad card. I do think it's a weirder card now. I think it occupies a weirder space in the overall credit card landscape than it did yesterday. And I think that that doesn't matter if it's 12 hours after launch or 12 weeks after launch. I don't think, unless they changed things on the card, I don't think you can change the fact this is a weirder card now and a harder sell to more people than it was before.
So I think and I'll say this, I think the card get younger, right? When I say that, I mean, I think
Yeah.
the demographic that we're shooting for is younger,
Right.
not by much, but I think when you think about the Sapphire in its current form, you think about families, you think about somebody that's probably mid-30s and up. I think now it's probably more so targeted towards that consultant that's doing a little bit more travel. You can probably put your own um, travel on your card for work, and you live in that major city. You're not quite a principal member, not maybe a director, but you're a senior consultant. You work for either a small consulting firm or one of the big four, and you travel, right? And I think these are what the previous stat was: the average Sapphire member put $37,000 a year on that card. And for most people, that was between dining, groceries, or just all over, right? Like, I hate to say this, my wife is the target for the previous Sapphire. She has a Chase Freedom Unlimited, she has a Freedom Flex, unless it is a category that which oddly enough, she loves the rotating category card. She thinks it's a game. Love that for her. But she doesn't want to juggle multiple cards, right? Like, she is putting everything on that Sapphire card. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight you on it because I have better things to worry about. So I see how people get $37,000 to spend on that card. I wonder though, are they going to hit the demographic or target enough for the new acquisitions to be worthwhile? And I'm really curious to see what we went through this exact same thing last year with the gold card. Everybody said, I'm canceling the gold card. And then 6 months later, the Amex gold card, the best food card there is. And here's why.
Record
So,
profits.
right. So
I
I'm just
think
really curious.
I think the difference between the gold and the gold and the Sapphire Reserve though is the gold card didn't have its identity changed. Like the gold card is like, I don't care how Amex markets it and puts it in its travel category. If you hit the toggle, I don't care. It's a food card. And it did not become less of a food card with the refresh. It became a more expensive food card. It had, different credits, different multipliers, Resi. I don't care about Resi. I need to find a Resi restaurant just because. But it didn't change its identity. It was a food card before, it's a food card now, it just is more expensive. I think with what I do wonder is if Chase is willing to lose people on the reserve for whatever the preferred refresh is. And they know X number of people are going to downgrade. They don't think they're going to lose them entirely. They think they're going to downgrade, and they think the landing pad they're going to give them, because they're getting rid of the one Sapphire rule. So they're going to, it'll be interesting to see if that landing pad, maybe there is 3x travel there, right? Maybe they're now going to try to get you to hold both instead of being like, no, only one Sapphire. Maybe now they're going to have that landing pad at the preferred where they're like, oh no, please hold both. You need to hold both to have what we think you need, right? So that is an option too. And maybe, Matt, I watched your video this morning. You were the first video I watched on this. So your thoughts might have changed between when that video came out and now. But one of the things you talked about, especially early in the video, is these changes for current card holders aren't really hitting until October. Like, that is not happening. So that gives them a lovely amount of time to launch the Sapphire Preferred refresh and give
Yes.
people time to be like, oh, I'm going to downgrade. Like, I'm not going to, because most people are not going to immediately cancel their card, right? They're going to either do it at renewal or some date in the future when the changes actually take effect. So that gives them time to do the Sapphire Preferred, get people to downgrade there, and then be like, look, you can pair these cards together. They're lovely together. You get the 3x travel. Maybe we'll give you gas. Like, you guys always complain about gas. We'll give you 2x gas just to shut you up, right? Like, I could see a world where these cards make sense together in a way that individually we all like have our heads tilted in one ear up like Scooby-Doo, right? Like, it doesn't make sense as a one-off, but if you pair them together, it makes a lot more sense.
There's also room for a third card.
Now, there is.
There can be a Sapphire trifecta, especially with a no Sapphire, like they're lifting the one Sapphire rule. There's room for a third Sapphire card. And let's just coincidentally say a fifth Sapphire card, because I believe that this Chase Ink Preferred is going to become the Chase Sapphire Preferred for business.
Yes.
Slap a fresh coat of paint on there. Don't know what happens to the Ink Premier. Don't really care. Leave the Ink Unlimited and leave the Ink Cash alone. Maybe bump the Ink Unlimited to 2x if the Freedom Unlimited goes to 2. But otherwise, there's definitely space for a third Sapphire in the lineup. Real quick, going to the comments, we're a little bit behind on those. But Source Kings, as any guesses on what minimum spend for the sub will be? Through the day, through the day, I have thrown out 8 and 10. But I don't know if you're going to get 3, 5, or 8 months to complete that spend.
There's no way they give you more. There's no way they give you 6 months. If they do a healthy sub, you get 3 months to complete it. Like, they're not going to pull the Amex 6 month. Like, they're just not. They just did this with the CSP.
They are trying to copy. But we'll see.
But not in the good. Like, they're trying to copy. They're like looking at Amex, taking the wrong lessons and trying to copy those. They're not copying the right parts of Amex.
It's fair. If Kirby
I don't see it actually going too much further up, though. I mean, we're already at 5,000. That was a slight creep up from 6 months ago. I could see us maybe hitting 6 and 3, or maybe 7, but I think 10 is extreme. That's a near double what we're currently hitting right now.
6 and 3 is my guess, to be honest.
6 and 3 would make the most sense. 8 and 3 would be tough but doable. 10 and 3 would be really hard, but 10 and 3, if you're looking at 175,000 points to start.
But here's the problem. You have to think about the people who might sign up for this card. And if you put in front of a bunch of 20-somethings, which is the demographic they want because it's the demographic Amex is heavy going after. If you put 10,000, if you put that comma in that place, a lot of people are just going to say no. Like, it doesn't, because here's the thing. If you're not heavy into credit cards, 175,000 points is whatever, right? Because if you don't have any, it doesn't matter. So I really think it's got to be under, it's got to be 8,000 or less. I do not think they go up to 10. The business side, I think, is going to be outrageous. The personal, I think, is going to have to be under 10.
Yeah. We had John joining us. Hey, everyone. Good evening. And KidGat, good to see you. Also, congrats again, John. Element, it's a good point. CSR's lost identity. Curious as to what they do with the CSP. That 100K offer just got a ton of new people. Wonder how they will try and convince people to keep it.
They also just locked a bunch of people out of getting a Sapphire Reserve bonus.
Yep.
Good job, Chase. Good job. Good thinking there.
Those people aren't going to sign up for the Sapphire Reserve.
You don't know that. They could have been somebody who downgraded to apply for the bonus. You don't know, Matt.
What they do to convince those people to stay: 3x regular grocery, 4x regular grocery on a refresh. Make it 4x grocery and 4x dining as an option. $300 annual fee, ultimate reward points, dining and grocery. Don't put a cap on it.
Ooh, now that.
Are we gonna get the Hypnotoad? Like you're just gonna pull up the Hypnotoad and put it in front of the chase board?
Yes, if I have to. Okay. I'll also just send Hermes. He'll do all the documentation, and then we'll be fine.
Okay.
Sorry, Greg. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was going to say I'd give up my gold cards for that. Now, especially that Amex is losing Alaska, the only people I'm transferring to are Virgin. Avios is an Avios is an Avios, as Matt says, and A&A for some Hyatt or United points. I'd pay $300 for that.
Yeah,
even if it's just 3x.
Can't wait for Stack Your Points to get merch so we can find creative ways to not spell the word Avios correctly on a t-shirt.
Oh, I love that.
I've wanted to put an Avios is an Avios is an Avios on a t-shirt, but like...
We can get creative, Matt. Trust me. We can get creative for that.
Jerome asked, how broad is City's travel category on the custom cash? No travel protections, I know, but transit, etc., may be a good replacement for the right person. So City Custom Cash has a transit category and has a travel category, but ne'er the two shall mix. So you are either spending on travel or you're spending on transit or you're getting 2 custom caches. City's travel category is rather narrow. I know it's flights, hotels, cruises, rental cars, online travel agencies, and I don't know much else beyond that. Transit would be most typical transit. Transit's a little bit more inclusive for City, but their travel category is not as broad as you think, and you need 2 custom caches to accomplish the same goal. No annual fee, no protections, but 5x points. The Ritz for Lounge from Cosmic Ninja. The Ritz is not long for this world.
No, the Ritz is going to get an update and nobody is going to be happy with it. Like there's going to be rage over that card, especially with what you have to do to get it.
The only thing that I can foresee them doing, $6.95 annual fee. They're going to keep that travel credit. You're going to get knocked down to 2 guests at the lounge.
I can't even see that. I have to imagine that the Amex Marriott contract is pretty ironclad with how they have things written and worded. And I would assume, don't know that for sure, but I would assume that's why we also haven't seen the Ritz come back out publicly available.
That's 100% why we haven't seen the Ritz come back out publicly. Yeah.
When does the Amex Marriott contract end?
Mid-29.
Or 29 or the mid-30s.
Yeah, because I can see Marriott picking a side. I think they have to. I think the way the cards are now is, I mean, Bonvoy is bonkers, but having 2 issuers with radically different cards, like one's got the high end, one's got the low end. You've got the Ritz over in a corner.
Marriott's picking a side. Marriott already picked a side. We're just waiting for the next contract.
I'm saying.
Matt was right. 2034.
Damn.
How the hell do I know this?
You have superpowers that involve recall, Matt. Whether you understand your recall or not, it's in there. It's like Jarvis in your head.
Just all the bourbon too. I recommend the CSR to friends who only want 1 travel card and doesn't really get transfer partners. The CSR was perfect. 3x and the simplicity of 1.5x travel redemptions being removed hurt. Yes. I think Point Boost is a grand experiment that is going to go away by 2027. Like they say that the 1.5x is going to completely go away by 2027. This is a grand experiment. It's going to fail. And then by the time that the 1.5x is going to go away, Chase will have a major announcement of, hey, 1.5x for everyone.
Okay, but here's my question to you. Like, I mean this genuinely. Like, how do you think, like, why do you think it's going to fail and how do you think it's going to fail? Like, do you think it's just going to piss people off? Because I don't know how they reverse course on this.
So Lonnie and I recorded an interview earlier. Lonnie did highlight the fact that they use that lovely marketing language of up to 2 cents per point. if you're not consistently getting 2 cents per point, and it's with select partners and up to 2 cents per point with select partners. Am I getting 2 cents per point all the time at the Four Seasons where I was only getting 1.5 cents per point before? Awesome. Am I getting 2 cents per point at, a decent Hyatt all inclusive through the portal? Yes. Awesome. But am I only getting like 1.3 and it's now variable where before I could lock in 1.5? Or
But you're also assuming the people doing this are keeping that close a tab on it versus just automatically going to the portal and checking out.
right, but the people who like the
I
us's of it are
yes,
going to be powering the complaints the loudest. Like the smallest
right.
minority is the loudest
I'm not
opposite.
saying that I'm not saying you won't be the loudest. Trust me, I know you will. But if they're making so much money because people, it's like the people who use the platinum for everything. Like the reason they love when people use the platinum for everything is just autopilot. Like a lot of the people who use the portal did not even like aren't doing the math. They're finding a hotel they want, they're finding an amount of points they want, yippee, and checking out. I agree that people like you and Lonnie will be loud, but I don't know that loudness is going to be louder than the printing sound of money that is happening at Chase because of especially because if you look at the Freedom Flex lately, there's a lot of sponsored categories like
Yeah,
Amazon, whatever. Like
I hate it.
people don't like it, but guess what? They're printing money based on that. If they can start printing money with some of their partnerships for these 2x partnerships, they don't care. Like they're just not going to care as long as the money goes burr. And I think this is going to make the money go burr.
I think this makes the money go burr, but I'm going to reference a lesser known but also very vocal Sapphire user, Dugras. I think Dugras is far closer to the average traveler, like American traveler, and person that is, hey, I'm willing to have a $600 credit card. May not be super duper hyper into credit cards. Dugras obviously is because he has a channel, he does these things, but I think he's far more representative of what that looks like. And I think that average person is perfectly okay with spending 1.5 on economy travel domestically. And I think that is going to be a big hit population from all of this. And I think that's going to be a very vocal side when we say, hey, my 3 trips a year that I take to go see Disney World and I'm getting on JetBlue or American or Delta to Orlando or Anaheim. Well, now it's just 1 cent. Now I got to come up with 50% more points instead of 45,000 or 30,000. I got to come up with 45,000 points. That's a big hit for people.
But are people like, and I'm not trying to dismiss the intelligence of the people who are into credit cards, but not super into credit cards, right? Are they going to think of that as the portal has changed, or are they just going to think about like the cost of everything is going up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily think that the group of people I'm talking about is going to make that strong connection. And I don't necessarily like, I'm not talking about the people on credit card Reddit, right? Like I'm talking about like my coworkers who have cards, they use the cards when they travel. They follow it if it's in the main news, but they're not like going to credit card Reddit. I don't know if they're going to make the connection of I'm not getting a 1.5x boost on my points. I think what Chase is hoping for is they're assuming that everything is more expensive, so people are going to just assume travel is more expensive. I don't think you're wrong about the people who are plugged in. I don't think as many people are plugged in as we like to think because we're in the middle of it, right? Like we're all super plugged in. But there are so like it is not hard to be barely plugged in this game and still get some value. So I think that's the problem is they're banking on the amount of people who are barely plugged in
Yeah. And
being that super majority.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think though that works perfectly fine for a Sapphire Preferred or even an Amex Green at that 150 to less. I think once you get to that, and granted, again, we get to this Amex Platinum standpoint of, well, I just have enough money that this is the one card and I don't care. But I also think that there's a pretty sizable amount of people that, and not necessarily dude bros, but people that are watching their finances enough that they say, hey, I know how to pinch a penny, right? And I think that is the kind of crowd that we're talking about, and at least the middle class enough. Because let's be realistic, if you're not a middle class or roughly a semi high income earner, and when I say high income earner, I mean more than the average American. So we're talking higher than 45,000, which I believe is the average GDP for us right now. I think people are looking at that when you're talking about what's now an $800 card, $1,000 almost if you have an authorized user, nearly 1,200 for two.
Like I agree that I agree there's going to be complaints. I just think the money is so far going to outweigh with these partnerships that they're not going to reverse it. And Spathco had a point about the multipliers in the portal. Like you can't have both. You can't have 8x in the portal plus the 1.5 boost. Like you cannot do both. And I think they're hoping that 8x is enough to get people to be. You were very, very close. Medium income is $39,982 in the US.
We're doing great, guys. We're doing great.
You're very close. That is for an individual.
Yeah, with the elevated travel multipliers, like the thing there's other things that I have in mind there that I think are happening there that are going to cool the temperature a bit on the 1.5 loss. Like if they start adding more of the bigger hotels into the portal and you're able to gain elite nights, you're able to get all your status reflected, you're able to do all of that. Like you can trade the 1.5 because now you're earning 8 times points at a Hyatt and then being able to trade those 8 points 1-to-1 with Hyatt. I think that's coming.
If you are a member, I'm sorry, Matt, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry.
If you are a member of the Stack Your Points Discord, please go into the Stack Your Live channel right now and take a look at Keith's setup for watching us. He's watching us on a television with a bottle of red wine in a glass. And I truly believe this is the only way to watch a Stack Your Live. So I do appreciate that, Keith. Thank you for giving us a photo of that.
Absolutely. And Keith asked what bourbon I was drinking. I was just drinking Old Granddad. It's nothing special. Nice quick mixer bourbon. I would whip out higher quality bourbon, but I was putting that bourbon into coffee, so you don't need high grade bourbon for coffee. No. Henry in Louisville says new CSR2 authorized users is a whopping $1,185 annual fee is a few steps beyond weird, perhaps just plain stupid. Maybe. Wonder if the 195 AU fee comes with lounge access. It does, or will people have to add 125, 226? So the 226 and 125, that's the Venture X. You're conflating the Venture X with the Sapphire Reserve.
I think they're asking if Chase was going the way of Capital One. I don't think they're conflating. I think they're asking, is that the direction they're going?
No. The 195 includes lounge access. I don't know if your authorized users can bring guests into the lounge themselves, but the authorized users can still access the lounges. Rupert Pond seems like they're now meant to be used in conjunction with one another, like the Platinum, not really a standalone card anymore, not a bad thing, but now they're encouraging you to get another card. Yes, and what that other card looks like, we don't know yet. We're going to know before October. Like, we have a drop-dead date of October 25th of, like, all the points that you earn before October 25th on the Sapphire Reserve can be redeemed at 1.5 until 2027. We're going to know what the new Sapphire Preferred looks like. We're going to know if they're going to add another Sapphire Preferred into the lineup. We're going to know if they're going to update the Freedom cards by then.
So you both have the Sapphire Reserve. I just want to make sure I'm getting this correct. And for anybody joining us, I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Nothing is changing on your cards until the 25th of October, 26th of October, something like that. Your cards are staying exactly the same.
Yeah. According to Chase's documentation, which is what I reviewed first thing this morning, yes. Somebody in my live with Joe called a Chase representative, and the Chase representative told them, "Oh no, on the 23rd, existing cardholders can also get all these benefits." It's a Chase representative. It's a customer service representative who these folks probably just got briefed on this stuff. If we're lucky, these folks got briefed on this stuff 2 weeks ago. They probably got briefed on this first thing this morning before they hopped on their first call of the day. So remains to be seen. If on the 23rd I wake up and I magically have IHG Platinum status, I will be very happy. But I do not expect that on the 23rd I will have all the new updates.
But if you apply on the 24th for this card, you get everything immediately.
Yes.
Yes.
That's stupid.
You will. Yes. That's why my first video of the day was me choosing violence for like 6 minutes, being like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
No, that I know it was, Matt, and the reason I'm asking the questions that I know answers to is because I watched your video. But we have 56 people watching on one side and 19 on the other. So I thought a little bit of housekeeping was in order.
Absolutely. We also have Anthony Venture joining us. Let's go. Kit Kat's awesome.
Tony.
Yo, Matt and RJ. How's it going? Tony, how are you? Filmo says the CSR needed an identity change, though. It was stale, and Chase saw that.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think it did. I will 100% say I was the person that was CSR's trash. Then I got a lounge, and I said, well, maybe it's not so trash if you live in New York, Boston, or Philly.
I love that Chase went semi-dynamic with UR points before Hyatt went semi-dynamic with their points. That is very funny. They're trolling you, Matt.
Chase is preparing for a world without Hyatt, and I'm fine with this.
But who gets Hyatt? Does Wells get Hyatt? Is this breaking news, Matt? Is Wells getting Hyatt?
Wells is asleep right now. Wells is too busy like watching their money on fire, just like not sure what to do.
Fair.
And they're looking at the arsonist and they're like, guys, please. And the arsonist also has no idea what they're doing. And if you're asking, if anyone has to ask, City, very much asleep. It's a Tuesday. They're not waking up until Saturday night. All the regular people
Pre-game didn't make it out. It's okay.
Yeah. All the regular people I know who have the CSR associated with the 3x travel 1.5 cent per point easy redemption. This is basically a new card, lifestyle to compared to travel, so that's going to be a customer churn. Yeah, there's going to be some churn. Absolutely. There are things that they added to the card. There are things that they've removed from the card. There are things that they are looking for folks to kind of adapt to. Robert J says, I would definitely pay more to get 3x inclusive travel on the CSP. May not be a CSP. Maybe another Sapphire card. Gumbo says, please don't touch my chasing preferred.
I don't think that's going to happen, buddy.
Nope. Nope. And we're still waiting for Instacart credits to be announced for the Freedoms and the Sapphires.
Yep.
Chase could rebrand the Freedom line as Sapphire and the Ink line as Sapphire Business. Certainly could. Although the Sapphire Unlimited, yeah. Sapphire Flex also sounds stupid. But I haven't seen any new trademarks to kind of give me an idea of what they might go with, but we'll see. Anyone think that the points nerf in the portal allows them to raise the CFU CIU floor to 2x? Sure.
They won't.
They won't. But sure.
1.75. They're going to raise it to 1.75 and everybody's spreadsheets will have to be updated.
That would be annoying, but plausible. The Venn diagram of Chase's desired demographic and people watching this stream is two circles in different zip codes.
I would say Kid is actually probably in their desired demographic. I'm going to throw you under the bus there, Kid.
I want to be unfortunately. I want to say no, but yeah.
No, you're their target. You sir are their target demographic. Unfortunately, they did not ask you about this card before they put it out.
I'll be really honest though, and the worst part is now it makes me have to have a conversation with player 2 to say, do we want a platinum or do we want a CSR? Because I even from the credits, I'm just not getting enough value from the CSR to justify having both the CSR and the platinum. And each one of them have their own weaknesses that are supported by their ensemble. But at this point, I can't afford to. I mean, I could just be, but I don't want to afford to have a premium Marriott, premium Hyatt space, and platinum card right there. That's 3 grand worth of cards, some 4 cards, and some
You
authorized
know,
users.
I have a topic tomorrow from Lonnie that you're gonna love. I'm just saying.
Ooh.
Spoiler alert to everybody. There's a topic on tomorrow's show you guys are gonna love.
And don't get me wrong, I love the people that will say, well, you get value from it. So why does it matter? It matters because I'm still paying 3 grand out of my pocket to somebody to say, allow me to swipe your card. Because at the end of the day, you don't own these cards, they are leasing them to you. It's the same thing with owning land in the country. Don't pay your
So
taxes and see if you're a landowner.
on the whole, with the discussion of credits, like looking at the credits for the Sapphire Reserve, right? The credits will break down. You keep the $300 travel credit. They did like job number one was keep that credit. Mission accomplished. They've got this $500 edit credit, which is $250 semi-annually. Now the edit is super expensive, is more expensive, this and that. It's got pluses, it's got minuses. With the warts, you're getting $250 every 6 months. It remains to be seen if you can stack it with the travel credit, and if you can, at least in the first half, at least in one part of the year, you're going to get $550 easy to use credit. The DoorDash credit is remaining, and it's staying the stupid 10-10-5. I'm slightly annoyed about that, but even if you don't do 10-10-5, right? It's a $120 membership that you're getting for free. It's that's getting covered by Chase. It's a even if you use $300 of that total between the membership, which is $120, and say you use $180 of the delivery credit, that's $300. So $300 travel credit, $300 DoorDash. Conservatively, if you use Lyft 8 times a year, just 8, that's a $10 credit on each of those 8 rides. That's $80. So that's $680 on $795. StubHub credit is $150 each half of the year. Pretty easy to get at least $150 on that one. And you're now in plus territory on 4 credits, not even naming the edit, right? Not even going to the Apple. You get free Apple TV Plus and Apple Music. It's through a select link through Chase, so you're only getting those 2 services. That's stupid, but you are getting those 2 services for that they're valuing at $250. So you're getting an extra $250. Now you're $380 in the black. And again, I haven't touched the edit. I haven't touched Peloton. I haven't touched any of the other ridiculously dumb credits. I haven't even touched the $300 Chase Tables dining credit. Like, you're still in the black on 5 credits. And I've used them conservatively.
I don't think it's about being in the black on the credits, though. I don't think that's ultimately the problem, because almost anybody can look at any card and get themselves past the annual fee. I have the American Express Platinum. It is now the second most expensive normal credit card you can get, right? Non-invite only credit card.
For 3 months.
Trust me, I already know. Thankfully, I just paid my annual fee. But when my annual fee hit, guess what? $695 came out of my account. I did not get the option of saying, oh, no, just I'm going to do this, this, and this so I get that money back. The money still comes out of your account.
Right. The money still comes out of your account. However, one of the things that everyone in the comment sections does is highlight how this card, all I've seen all day is how this card is trash because it's worse for you overall, when you can still come out ahead by doing literally no work.
But you're saying if you use X, Y, and Z credit, you will come out ahead. And I'm not disagreeing with that. But I'm also saying that you're putting value, like if you don't go to sporting events or concerts or whatever, that StubHub credit is useless to you. Like
So let me.
where you live, you can use that credit. For me, that credit would take quite a bit of work because I don't have access unless I'm traveling. I don't go to concerts. I don't go to most sporting events because I don't have anything pro or semi-pro or anything above beer league where I am, right? Like,
But
let me. My point is, I'm not saying you can't use the credits. I'm saying for some people, these credits are less useful to them than previous. And I don't think that's a bad point. For some people, the Amex credits are like if you don't do streaming, the $240 credit, which is the easiest freaking credit on the platinum to use, is useless to you. You can't use that $240, right? Like different people have different views of credits. And I understand what you're saying. I understand that you can get above the number, but it is frustrating for people to have to fit credits into their life that they didn't have to work as hard to fit before. Also, Keith, for the love of God, do not give up your Apple One subscription for that credit. Please don't. I'm very upset with both Chase and Apple about that.
I have a question.
It
Well,
annoys
two
me.
question and a comment. Do we know yet if Apple One will or won't count
No,
towards that app?
it will
it
not.
won't.
Okay.
Has to be
It's a
music and TV. Excuse
Oh,
me.
it's a
that's
select.
trash.
It is a direct link from Chase.
I do apologize for not knowing.
No,
I've been under the
No,
weather,
that's fine.
and so I've been dying slowly. Um, and to RJ's point, and to Matt, I'm gonna play the middle of the field here. I will admit, just looking at my spending from last year, I was hurt when they took the Lyft credit down from 10x to 5 because I got like 40,000 Chase points just off Lyft last year, right? I use Lyft several times a month for work, for personal. It is my preferred ride share. Um, it's super easy to get that $10 a month. I we just went to see Beyonce in London, right? Like we use entertainment. But for me, it's that same concept of yes, these are, I will admit, they're relatively easy credits for me to use. Now, granted, I live in a rural part of the country, right? Like I live in Indiana. It is not outside of the Pacers. Go Pacers. Yuck. That sounded gross to say for me. Bulls fan for life. I don't care if we only won 12 games.
go with the
Um,
fever. Everybody can get behind the fever right now.
you know what? I can appreciate that. But even still, it's not like we're in a major metropolitan area where we're hitting these places. I don't even have a Resi restaurant within 100 miles of me, but I can use the Resi credits. Same thing with Chase restaurants. I think it depends truly on your lifestyle because, for example, RJ, you travel, but you're taking what, 3, 4, 5 trips a year? And you're not planning your trips around those credits. You're planning your trips around what do I want to do?
And I probably take 10 to 15 trips a year, but
Okay,
only
my bad.
about 3 to 5 of them are flying trips.
Okay, yeah,
Because
that's
of
what I
where
meant.
I am in the country, I do a lot of trips where I'm driving places.
And I think that is the kind of determining factor. Like, Chase is looking for a type of customer right now where if you can utilize a lounge, because I'll say this, you can take away everything else. If I still get, I I just checked while we were sitting here, the little hotel that we use for our staycation for our anniversary every year is on the edit. I'm good there. I'm not going to tell people where it is because I don't want you to be there. But that's on there, so that's $500. I know I was going to spend either way. The Granted, we don't normally do 2 nights, so that's a little eh. But we'll figure that out. The $300 travel credit and the lounges. For me, I'm going to be Lonnie here for a second and say I don't need to use all the credits. I'm cool with just getting what I want out of it. But I don't think that that's the way that we in the credit card community function. But I think that's the way that, to RJ's point earlier, most people that are going to get this card function. If I can get a lounge and let's say I live in New York City, or if I live in Boston, or I'm in Virginia and my main airport is IED. If I can go and use your lounge 3 times a year and I feel fancy, I heard somebody in the Philly lounge say, "Oh my God, I just feel so rich being in here." And all I could think of is, really? I came here so I can shower because I got swamp crotch right now. But that's good for you. Just being honest, I was already checked out of my hotel. I needed a shower. Right? Like I think that's the demographic that we're hitting, is the people that want to live the wanderlust fantasy, and the people that are traveling for work. And like, it is a for those of you that are ever going to go into Philadelphia, it's hit or miss whether or not the AC works in there because they think they're European. So you will sweat. It's nice to get a shower.
And look, I think, again, I don't think this card is bad. I just think the saying that just because these credits are easy for somebody who has, like, I don't go to concerts. So if I'm not going to a Red Sox game in a year, I don't really have a way to use StubHub. Now, to somebody's one in the chat who asked about like reselling the tickets. I've resold tickets on StubHub. You're taking your life into your hands because you might get the value of the ticket, or nobody is going to buy it and you get nothing. And there's a certain timeout before the event where you can't pull that ticket anymore. So if it doesn't sell, your SOL, the entire cost of the ticket is gone. So it becomes a situation where if you buy a ticket just to resell it, you may or may not be SOL. But yeah, like, it depends on your lifestyle. I know a fair number of people who have never used StubHub. Like, that's not, depending on where you are, you might use Ticketmaster and the ticket you want might not be on StubHub. If you live in New York City or LA or whatever, there's going to be so much on those platforms that you'll be set if you want to go to them. So it does sort of, it is going to be a very personal thing if the credits work. I agree with you that some of them are very easy to use, Matt, but I also think that we have to be careful about acting as if we can get to 8, 9, 10, or 8, 9, $1,000 easily, when it's a very, credits are a very personal thing. On if, like, the business gold card with Amex, super easy to use, $20 credits. Do I remember to walk into a Staples 9 times out of 10 to use my credit that month? No, which is why the card went by.
Yeah, I think it's disingenuous to dismiss it out of hand. I think if you're dismissing it out of hand, you just don't want the card. And that's different than tearing the card down.
I don't think I'm dismissing it out of hand, though.
No, I'm not saying you specifically, but
okay.
like,
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure.
No, like, all day I've been seeing it. And like, I don't think that they're like, if the card's not going to work for you, that's one thing, right? Just going with, oh, this is like, yes, I don't like that 3x travel is gone. I don't like that the 1.5 redemption path is going to be fraught with terror. I don't love those changes, but I also haven't experienced the new changes with the card to say like, oh, everything's terrible and the world needs to end.
I think that.
Can I also say this? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, this will be fairly quick, and then I'll turn it over to you, kid. I think we do need to allow people time to grieve. Like, I know that sounds bizarre with credit cards, but like, if this was the cornerstone to your entire credit card life, like, them changing it is a form of grief, right? Like, you have to live with the fact that you either have to go out and get different cards, or things that you counted on is not there anymore, or whatever. Like, people are going to have a grief reaction to a major change. And do I think some people are just doing it for internet clout? Sure. But I do think that genuinely people who have this card who now do not have that 3x travel and 1.5, they're allowed to be sad and angry and like frustrated in a way that doesn't necessarily make sense to us. Like, Amex has said that they're going to refresh the platinum. If they change that platinum and that card is no longer for me, I am going to have a grief reaction. I will tell you that now. Delta is coming out with a card above the reserve. If I can't product change to it, or it's like screws up the reserve or whatever, there will be a grief reaction because those cards are very important to my own setup. So I do think we need to give people, especially 12 hours after, we need to give people a little bit of time and space to just have an emotional grief reaction before we like come down too hard. I get it. If you're reading the comments and having to deal with it, it's frustrating as hell. But we got to give people time and space to have those reactions, because it is a potentially frustrating, upsetting thing for those. Kid, I'm sorry I interrupted you. Please, the floor is yours.
No. And in fairness, I was going to go very similar to what you were saying, and I want to say, I think, unfortunately, and putting aside my desires to be, and like, I want to say this, my wife thinks that I'm bougie because she's like, "Oh, you just always want to be in a lounge." No, I take 6 to 12 work trips a month. I want a place that's quiet-ish, a comfortable seat, a shower when I need it, and like reliable Wi-Fi that I don't need to throw a VPN on for, which doesn't necessarily actually protect you from anything, but yada 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 yada. Um, I'm gonna say this. I don't think it's a bad card, right? Like, and to your point, RJ, I think people need a time to grieve. I think, and this is the similar conversation that Lonnie and I were having on a side note. I think people overestimate a little bit sometimes how much they are actually leveraging that offshoot of 3x travel and transit. Now, again, if you're the person that like, hey, this is the cornerstone of what I do because I commute in and out of New York City. For example, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. You drive into the city when you're flying out, right?
Yes.
Those tolls are a pain in the ass to get in and out of the island, right? Or when you're going
Yep.
to a game and you're looking at let's say you're going to a game, it's hockey season or baseball season, or you're flying out in and out. So you go 4 or 5 times in a month, that's $200, right? Like, I can see why somebody's mad about losing that, or you're mad if you're like spending a few $1,000s on other travel and transit. But like, realistically, how many of us are booking? And I'm talking purely from our niche community right now, but how many of us are truly booking cruises? How many of us are booking travel portal sites or Expedia, Priceline, things like that? Because I can tell you, anecdotally speaking, from being in these discords, people somehow never pay anything in cash, and everything they do is always on points. And I don't know how that functions anyway. But either you're booking everything on points, or you're paying in cash. I don't see how both of those things can be true at once. But I would lean myself to believe perhaps the changes aren't so detrimental as we perhaps think they are. Again, it 100% could be that this is the cornerstone to somebody's um, setup. And I'm really looking forward to the interview that Matt and Lonnie have done, because I will admit the only reason I got the CSR is because, and I used Matt's referral bonus for it, right? Like, God, that was 2 years ago.
You still have those points, Matt? Are those points still sitting there with a little heart with kid's name on it?
That one's dead, I'm sure.
But like, Matt and Lonnie are the reason I got a CSR. Up until that point, I was like, wow, this card is trash. Why would I spend this for a $300 travel credit? Gave it a shot, got a lounge. Hey, we like it. But I think, to your point, yes, we deserve a little bit of time to grieve, but I don't necessarily think that this is the end all for us. Now, I do believe they are trying to eat the Platinum's lunch. To how effective a degree, not that great. I think it will be what RJ and everybody on this podcast says all the time: pick your partners and pick your lifestyle card now. But I don't think that they've eaten any lunch from the Platinum here. Now, after the update and the Platinum goes to $1,000, sure. Or if Tariq gets the CSR and they decide out of nowhere, now all redemptions in the portal are half a cent,
Tariq's not allowed to go to CSR for a little while.
October 27th?
Immediately to the corner. No comment. Speaking of Tariq, he did pop into the chat. We're so far behind on the chat, but he did say, "What's up, peeps? Finally free from the shackles of my stupidity." you learned. You learned. Don't fly AA if
We
you don't
love
have to.
for it.
If you're gonna fly AA, you need to fly it like Craig does and be the person they hold the plane for. That's all I'm saying.
I just want to point out while we were sitting here, I did get an upgrade for my work travel that I'm not taking, but they were like, "Oh yeah, here you go. You're going to 1D. Sweet."
Jason from Chicago says that he is in their target demographic, car-free millennial who lives in a metro area with lots of nice restaurants. Chicago, still waiting on any credit card lounge at ORD. Yeah. ORD's lack of lounges is rough.
Can I say, out of nowhere, Midway has a fantastic priority pass lounge, but it's
Is that the
Midway,
club?
so nobody. It is, but it's Midway, so nobody that flies out of there even knows what priority pass is.
So I think that ORD will get a lounge the year that the Bears win the Super Bowl.
So the 35th of never.
Yes.
What is
I
this
just
lack of
want-
love for Caleb Williams?
I'm a Packers fan. That is the lack of love for Caleb Williams.
The lack of love is I'm 32 years old now, and I've been a Bears fan for 30 years. That should let you know how I feel.
Mets fan, Islanders fan, former Nets fan, former Jets fan. No. Your argument is invalid.
White Sox.
You won a series in 2005. You've won a series in your lifetime. Yes,
Yeah, I
it's
can't
now
talk about
20
these
years
Bears
ago.
anymore.
And I got
No,
shanked on
you
the
have
way out
no
of the
ground
stadium.
Well, okay, that's not good. Guaranteed rate field, guaranteed cut field. I'm sorry.
Oh, Kirby, I'm so sorry. To be a Vikings fan is to know true pain.
Yeah. RJ saw, because she'll get a giggle out of this. I saw Rex Grossman fumble off a butt in the Super Bowl from a snap. Like, that's just pain.
Oh God, that's funny.
Rex Grossman cannot enter
Okay,
the city of Chicago.
I feel bad for the Lions guy who they said didn't report. Like, I still feel bad for that. I kind of like the line, like obviously Packers, but like if another team from our division has to do well, I'm okay with the Lions. They haven't won anything yet, so it's fine.
I have the Eagles as a backup, so they're terrible people. But
Do we think this means Chase is going to get the Apple Card? Like, just a random aside.
Or Brady's question on the screen. No.
I genuinely think Apple is going to Amex because they're going to get a bigger cut of those swipe fees. Now,
Yes,
granted, they'll
yes.
lose some
Go-
international acceptance,
to
but
Amex.
money.
Also, the Apple Card isn't available in most countries, so and I doubt it's the card people are taking traveling. Like, so I don't think the acceptance of Amex overseas is going to be a huge problem.
Which, surprisingly, only 2 out of like 30 times not accepted.
See?
I still have no idea where the Apple Card is going.
Amex
I'm
would,
less inclined to.
Amex would make me happy personally, just because it's one less issuer to deal with.
Yeah.
Fair.
YouTube experiment. How much do you value each credit? Would you have used that service if you didn't have the card?
I think that was during our point when you and I were going back and forth on credit value.
Yeah. Subhost multi-secondary inventory. Here, it's not that I don't go to events. Sometimes their inventory just won't work. Yeah. I would have preferred something other than StubHub, but at least it's not Ticketmaster. SeatGeek would have been better. What about the Apple Credit being trash?
Honestly, an entertainment credit would have been even better.
An entertainment
broad
credit that
entertainment.
works with Apple would have, like, even if it was a smaller amount, right? Like, even if you did $20 and it could work with Apple One, like, or just do an Apple One credit.
In an alternate reality, there's a lounge card whose only benefit is lounges. Nobody gets a CSR or plat for streaming hotels, Saks, or Uber. Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, the platinum is a weird card, but it's weird in the ways I like it to be weird, so it works.
I'm the weirdo that if they made the platinum or the Sapphire Reserve purely just lounge access and nothing else, and just multipliers. Wow, English is difficult today. I would be here for it, like genuinely. Like I think
Um,
that would shave out a lot of the people that are in the lounges right now.
I think Mitch 528 in the Stack Your Live Discord is watching us on a Vision Pro, and this might be the happiest I have ever been in my entire life because we're sitting on the moon right now. And the idea that we're being watched on a Vision Pro makes me very happy. I can't own one because of my eyesight, but if I could, I would record every Stack Your Points with a Vision Pro strapped to my face.
I can't own one because I'm poor.
I would make it work. I would make it work if my eyes would cooperate. But Mitch, thank you. That has made my night.
Still a little bit behind. Brian McMahon asked, how much does Built move up with this change? Not an inch. Like
None.
Built still needs to put its pants on, and they're refusing to figure out customer service. They're doing AI customer service now, which I guess is like less terrible, but like humans, hire humans, have a call center, have a place where people can contact you.
And we just saw Hyatt got rid of all of their American customer service reps.
Really?
That was put in the Stack Your Points Discord today. So yeah, AI, like, look, ability is based on personality, not geography, but that's also not a great sign.
No, AI is built on what you put in it, and put some dumb biases in there, and it's going to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Will the CSP have grocery category and not online grocery? Will Chase come out with a gas and grocery category? I hope so. I'm hoping that they have 2 cards to work with to at least do that, or fix the Freedom cards. I do think you're going to get full grocery on the Sapphire Preferred, but I don't know for certain. So we'll see. Chad mentions that he books cruises with a combo of the Altitude Reserve redemptions and Delta gift cards.
Disney.
Yeah.
Disney gift cards.
Oh, Disney. Whoops. Do I consider 3x travel change detrimental if you can only use 1 Sapphire bonus every 48 months, and so you got to use 3x as catch-all for all travel? Especially as it comes to point stacking. I don't know. So here's the thing. I think 3x travel will survive on another card. It will go somewhere else in the lineup. Where that is, I don't know, because I think there's room for another card in the personal lineup, and I think there's room for the Freedom cards to get updated multipliers. So stay tuned, because this story, like, this is chapter 1 in whatever changes they're doing.
The problem is that we can only go off of what they have put out into the world, and right now this is what they have put out into the world.
Did anyone get an update on when? I would imagine you could try to call in on the 24th of June. Choose your own adventure with Apple. On Apple, we're doing great. To get free Apple Music and TV, we need an Apple Store credit for anything. Apple one would have been nice. Would a $250 Apple Store credit really have gotten anyone moving?
I
Tell me
mean,
you don't love that though.
a
Like that's
$250
so much
Apple
better.
Store credit would have made me think.
It just, Craig was pulling up his Sapphire Reserve.
Oh, yeah. No, a $250 Apple credit would have gotten my attention.
Why don't you just buy Priority Pass directly from Priority Pass?
Because people
understand.
in the credit card game are allergic to buying things. Dear God, tell somebody to buy TSA PreCheck and they might go apoplectic. Dear God, you're going to make me buy this instead of paying an annual fee on a card to get it? No, it's fucking stupid. Sorry, it drives me crazy.
The top level.
Sorry, it drives me crazy. It drives me so crazy. I'm sorry, it drives me so crazy.
So here's the thing. Here's the math of it. The top level priority pass of unlimited visits, unlimited restaurant, all of that, still pay $35 for a guest, I think, is $469 per year. You can buy it, and with Sapphire Reserve, you could save $300 doing it. Or you could just get a card that has priority pass on it.
But like, let's be honest, does that $469 come with priority pass restaurants?
If it doesn't, I sound like a massive idiot. So hold on.
Because if it does, that sounds like the play for a lot of people.
Yeah, but
Particularly Portland, Indianapolis.
But God forbid you buy something with money and you don't get it as a credit on a card. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that one. Here's the
You can
thing,
also
guys.
get
I
5X on
swear oh so much. If Matt can attest to the amount of swearing that I do. I try not to swear when we record, but I love to swear. So I really try to cut it back when we're doing these. But sometimes the words, it's like salt and pepper. Sometimes you got to season things a little bit. And yes, I'm that white that salt and pepper is primarily my seasoning. I'm sorry. I can't help it.
Just love cussing.
I do love to cuss. I really do.
On-demand workspaces. You know what's hilarious? It does not tell you whether or not you get access to. Oh, hold on. Refuel with priority pass. If you're feeling peckish or parched, you can refresh and refuel with a range of complimentary snacks and drinks in our lounges, or use Priority Pass app to see what restaurants are available within your entitlements, giving you more choice. So it doesn't directly say that the $469 one gives you Priority Pass restaurants, but it does give you unlimited Priority Pass. So there's that. YouTube Experiment mentions read the reviews on Bill customer service. It's not getting better. It's definitely not getting better. Green card has 3x travel. Hey,
Yes,
let me tell you, there's a card that has everything that the green card gives you for no annual fee.
Yes, but it's not.
That one.
It's it's a it's at the.
I
weird
just have my
place.
wallet here.
It's at the weird place, Matt.
It's fine. What covers the Amex Green Travel? Flights, cruises, car rentals, hotels,
B&Bs.
Somebody answered the question immediately under them.
Oh,
there we go.
Whoops. Sorry.
It's okay.
There we go.
That's what I'm here for.
It's really just as inclusive as Chase's travel category.
Yeah. Amex just splits it, but it's on the same card. So
yeah,
which is dumb. Well, Wells also splits it, which is also stupid. Rumor, take it with a grain of salt. JP Morgan is working on a tier level card in between JP Morgan Reserve and CSR. Same goes with Amex tier. Yeah. So we know about the Amex between the Centurion and the Plaid. My guess is that's one of Graphite or Catalyst.
It's got to be Graphite. Catalyst is the start of something. It would be silly to make that the Catalyst.
It's the start of your invitation.
I'm going to die on that hill, Matt.
That's fine. JP Morgan, I know that Vault is another set of cards and Vault trademark, and the Vault trademark is done. I just don't know what Vault will do and how accessible Vault is going to be to the general public. What I need right now is a Sapphire card, is a Sapphire setup. Both Amex and JP Morgan are trying to build a portfolio for entry-level invitation-only cards for CSR and Plaid. Okay. Yeah.
I will tell you, the moment that they allow me to upgrade from a plat to something else, if it works, I will have it. It will be mine. Give it to me now.
There you go. Keith throws us another $1.99. So Keith threw us $4.99 earlier, saying, do you have to give up his Apple One subscription to be able to use the CSR Apple credit? Pretty sure you don't have to, but then you're double paying, or like you're needlessly paying. $1.99 for the swear jar for RJ, and another $1.99. I can attest to the terrible built customer service. It's
there in the profile photo.
What do you guys think about the new CSR insurance partner? I haven't had to use them yet. I know that the claim process is easier. I hear that the company isn't particularly awesome. So there's that.
I haven't had to use them for myself, but I did pay for a flight for my mother. Going to Memphis, just delayed for mechanical issues. It wasn't terrible, but I'll just say this. I know people will complain that Amex does not have quite as robust of customer service. I mean, excuse me, coverage as Chase, but the customer service experience for me more than makes up for whatever small or minor things that you won't have. And if we're being realistic, I'm gonna say this: if you are very much so afraid of needing travel coverage, just buy a separate insurance plan. I promise you
Yep.
that that is the far better way to go about it.
Also, for the love of all that is good and holy, read your declarations page. Don't just assume that your thing is going to be covered. Like, you can get the deck pages for all of these policies before you buy them. Read them. Because if the thing you think is going to be covered is not covered, you're going to be out $400 or $150 or whatever and not have coverage. So make sure you read.
Was it
More.
too bad?
Mike chiming in with the I've always been told Built has great communication with its customers. Mike, I don't know where you heard that.
Built. They heard it from Built.
I'm not sure Built knows what a customer is. Our Spathco throws in 199 saying, "Feel free to swear too, Matt." Maybe.
Fuck me, huh?
There we go. Reddit says they're not good compared to before. I haven't had to do the experience, so I haven't had the experience, so I don't know. I have heard not great things about Virginia Surety, but like RJ said, read your declarations, be on top of your stuff, and if you have to do an extra policy, do the extra policy. Does Built 2x points on their MasterCard go up in relative value with the CP with the 3 cent per point on CSR going bye-bye? Kinda. Built's travel category is limited in scope, like a Strata Premier or it's not. If the Built travel category was as expansive as Chase's, that would be a sort of elevation up. They cover flights, hotels, cruises. I want to say vacation rentals. Not timeshares, but I think vacation rentals, and that's about it. So you don't get travel in transit, you don't get ferries, you don't get trains, you don't get anything like that. I don't think their 2x points on travel compares all that well with Chase or even Wells Fargo for that matter.
I mean, you can still get 2x on the CSP too. So
yeah,
those are in fact Chase points.
Yes. And you can, for now, get 3 times points on the Chasing Preferred.
You can also get 5x points on Link with the no annual fee Sapphire.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the upcoming Coinbase and Amex card? I think it's issued by Cardless, and Cardless doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not an Amex card. It's just on Amex's network. Let's make that distinction.
Yeah.
I also think it's going to go the way of the Smartly card. Granted, I am not heavily into crypto, but I have a few friends that are. Most of them, from what I have spoken with them about, don't want to leave large amounts of money on their exchange, right? Because in the event that a company does go under, and it has happened, well, now you're just kind of SOL.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a cold wallet or a burner wallet on a USB or somewhere in a bank vault, well, now you've just lost hundreds of thousands of dollars that you have no access to now. So I don't foresee this long term being viable. Also, we've seen how this functions, right? Even if they go up to Bank of America's Diamond Select, where you have to have $1 million plus, because they haven't necessarily announced just yet. I can't imagine people are parking $1 million of crypto just to get 4%, even if they're spending massive amounts of cash. I'm assuming the person that has $1 million worth of crypto is also savvy enough to know I can get better returns doing something else. And I could be wrong here. They're probably a churner, and they want to get as much return as possible.
One thing I do want us to talk about, we haven't really hit on it, is one Sapphire is going away.
Yep.
You will be able to have multiple Sapphires, and it seems like pop-up jail may be a thing versus maybe 524 is taking a walk. Maybe pop-up jail's coming out. I know Craig and I are very familiar with American Express and how pop-up jail works. Mike's given more memberships, man. Mike might get you to 2,000. All on
All
his
right,
lonesome.
Mike, thanks for another 10 memberships.
So, like, here's the thing with pop-up jail, right? Like, if you want the card and don't want to have to, like, deal with the sub, like maybe it's the Aspire, right? And the sub is important, but not the most important thing about that card to you. You can just take the card, right? So, how do you guys feel about the idea of pop-up jail becoming more widespread, having the one Sapphire gone, and you have this? I feel like this is an under talked about thing as far as the Sapphire branding goes.
I'll be honest, and I know this is unpopular. I like pop-up jail because even if I can't get a sub, if I just want a card, I can still get the card, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think oftentimes we will say, "Oh, but you should never get a card without a sub." I'll be completely forthcoming. I got the, and again, I don't just keep every single card in my wallet. This is the travel wallet I had while I was in London. I got the saver without a sub because Capital One refused to give me anything that wasn't good credit, despite somehow me having a credit score in the 800s. Um, and you know what I did? I burned up that 10x Uber until they took it away from me, and then I cried a little bit. And I'm sitting now on a couple darn near 100,000 Capital One points or miles. Yeah, miles that I don't necessarily know what to do with. It is not the end of the world if you do not get a sub with a card. Now, I know conventionally we will tell you, please get a sub with a card. It helps you to cover the annual fee if there's an annual fee, but especially if you're just wanting a freedom card, go for it. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I know, again, I'm not telling you to not go and get a sub or not get subs if you can, but if you can't hit the spin for a sub or you can't necessarily wait or you just want the card because there's a benefit particularly that you need or not need or want or integrate into your life, it's okay. Now, Space Code, don't be mad, but it's okay if the math doesn't add up sometimes.
And I like the Sapphire, or not the Sapphire, good lord. The Surpass, I got that without the sub. Like my options were have the card or not. I wanted a Hilton card. I got the Surpass. I would not change that, right? Like I would not take that out of my wallet just because I didn't get sub. It's also Hilton. You can get points pretty fast with Hilton.
Yeah.
I think co-brands are easier most of the time to go without a sub. Especially if the points are like Marriott's a weird edge case, but Marriott's always a weird edge case.
Yeah.
As far as like them getting rid of 524, I think makes a lot of sense if they're going to open up the one Sapphire rule, right? Because they don't have like Amex and Chase don't actually have a lot of non-co-branded cards. They have a lot of cards. They do not have a lot of unco-branded cards. But I think if they're going to open up, if they're going to have 3 Sapphire cards plus a couple of Freedom cards or however they're branding that, I think they kind of have to open it up if they want to get a bunch of new people. Matt, any feelings or thoughts here?
I'm fine with pop-up jail. I'm Chase pop-up jail. My only reticence there is there's not like Amex has cards that you can forego the welcome offer on and feel okay foregoing the welcome offer on. Surpass, Hilton Business, to a certain extent, the Delta reserves, certain extent. The companion pass more than clears, like, I missed out on $800 in value on if I'm valuing Delta points at 1 cent per point. Oh, I missed out on $800 in value. Oh, who cares? I just paid for a $1,200 ticket for my partner with $0 because of the certificate. The certificate outweighs everything. So to me, there are an okay number of American Express cards that you could open just to open, and they could earn, or their benefits greatly outweigh like the loss of a welcome offer.
Mhm.
How many chase cards are there that fit that description?
Fair.
There's
I mean,
maybe the World of Hyatt card and maybe the United Explorer card.
but
Maybe.
that's in the view of you saying you shouldn't do this.
Well, no. I
You're putting your version of value. Like I'm not asking about should people take cards without subs. Like, but if you want the CSR, like say the CSR fits perfectly in your life. You use SubHub, you the 300 like not coming out of my pocket. Like if you want to get that without the sub, like go for it, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're going to kill that portal for that 8x, like maybe you make it back, right? Maybe you have a ton of work travel that you can make it back. Like I'm not saying I don't think most of the time people should go without a sign up bonus for a card, but I do think at least it gives you the option, and I am for option more than I am anti-option.
Yeah, and that's fair. I just like for me, I would rather be like the quickest way to rack up ultimate reward points is the welcome offer
Absolutely.
on the personal side. And yes, the quickest way to rack up membership reward points is the welcome offer. Yes, but like the green card can do a lot of heavy lifting for you. The gold card can do a lot of heavy lifting for you. Platinum card, not so much. But there are yeah, then when it comes to the co-brands, like the Hilton Aspire, the Hilton Surpass, the Hilton Business can either super earn out the welcome offer relatively quickly, or the value that they can present you is pretty strong. I don't know that the value on some chase cards and co-branded cards can out earn, whether through the things that they give you. Because like if a United card gave you a companion pass, I would say go with that United card. If the Hyatt card was like a 1-6 instead of a 1-4, I would say, that's easy to forego. I do think that like missing out on the points and not being able to make up those points relatively quickly, because Hilton, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I do think missing out on the points is a huge hindrance unless you have a backup strategy for getting those points. Like you could pop up jail and accept a freedom unlimited for whatever reason, but you're able to open an elevated freedom unlimited ink unlimited for 90k points, or you just go out, like you're adding the freedom unlimited, but you're working the ridiculous Sapphire Reserve for Business welcome offer, whatever that ends up being, because I've seen like 200,000 points for 30,000 spend.
Craig,
so
if I offered you 150,000 points or lounge access in Philly, which one would you take? And I'm using you as an example because like that lounge access for you in your life, like you can have lounge access or you can have a welcome offer, and I'm doing 150, which is more than they're probably going to do on the new CSR anyway. But you get my point, right? Like depending on why you want the card, points are not everything.
And I'll say this for me,
cash.
Ooh, hey, stop.
I do 90% of my travel in cash.
Stop swearing.
Maybe
Jesus Christ.
95% of my travel in cash.
So, and I think this gets us back to the conversation point of like, what is the purpose of the card, right? And like, what is your lifestyle? I'll be honest, guys. Like, work travel was really awesome at first, and now it's just a commute, right? And
yeah.
Sometimes it's great because I get to see friends, or I get to go and grab dinner with a community member or something. But for the most part, this is my CTA, this is my SEPTA, and it doesn't help that it's AA, so it really is the school bus of the sky. But like it's a lounge is not a luxury for me. A lounge is a opportunity for me to have a little bit of like level setting and sanity to my day. I'll be honest. I don't drink at the lounges for the most part. I'm going to fill up my water bottle, grab a plate of food, take a shower, or just get on some Wi-Fi and charge my phone. Not even charge my phone. I keep an Anchor brick with 30,000 milliamp hours. I don't need to plug in, right? So like, I'm not getting the same lounge experience that someone else does. I'm at the point now. One Amex, I went to the Amex Centurion Lounge in Philly, and they were like, "Hey, we haven't seen you. We thought you got were sick or something because I've been going to the Sapphire Lounge." And they're like, "We haven't seen you in so long. What's wrong?" It had been like 3 weeks, right? Like I'm in the lounge enough that like people just know who we are. I know my stewardess on a 6 a.m. flight to Philly, right? I take that route enough that I know who's working what days. It's no longer fun travel. And even when we're doing like travel, like first of all, shout out to Chad Money Minutes. But like, if I'm doing travel like that, I'm not particularly worried about a credit card lounge. I want to get into the lounge in Qatar. We just did the Virgin Clubhouse because we took Virgin coming back from London. It was fantastic. We stopped in on the Centurion Lounge just to see what it was like. Not a bad place. Space Co. Overplayed it. It's not the worst. Is it a little dark? Are there no windows? Sure, but it's cozy. It's actually still better than the Philly Lounge, but neither here nor there. Um, but like I just hate to say this, with exception of, for example, Atlanta or Seattle, we are never going to compete credit card lounges or even I'll say LaGuardia for Delta or Sapphire Lounge. We are never going to compete credit card lounges with like premium international airline lounges. It's just not going to happen. We will never be a better lounge than Cathay Pacific in Singapore or Singapore Airlines in Tokyo. It's just not going to happen.
But most
Now,
Americans will never be in Singapore to begin with, much less qualify to get into that lounge. A lot of
fair
people
enough.
can get into the LGA Delta Lounge.
True, but it's big enough where you might not notice.
I love that lounge. That is probably my favorite lounge. It's so nice.
It's top 3 for me.
Yeah. I don't want a transfer bonus to dictate when I'm moving my points. I want to put them on the Hilton card and my points are there. I do not let transfer bonuses dictate my life.
Yeah. And you do have to wait for them to come around and be active. And while the Hilton one is relatively predictable, it's not, as predictable as the buy Hilton points for half a cent per point. Like that is basically every 6 weeks. Whereas the transfer is maybe every 6 months. And while you can make out pretty well, 4 times gold to 2.5 to 2.6 Hilton, consistently getting the Hilton in the 6 months between transfer bonuses, you're earning 5, 6, or 7 times on restaurants.
Yeah.
Depending on your spend, you can do pretty well.
And
you put
honestly,
yep.
I think there's a good case to be made that if you wanted to, you can have a 3-card setup or a 2-card setup with the Hilton Surpass being the main card in your arsenal.
Absolutely.
I would
just throw a 2x.
I do the Hilton Business as the main one just because 5x
Everything.
Hilton.
Yeah.
But yeah. Even me with my nervousness about business cards, I can't get off the Hilton Business card.
Yeah.
That is a very valid point, Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there needs to be and I think this is what Vault is going to be, and like whatever Project Halo ends up being. Like Vault is going to be them starting to cater more to private client and private bank. Because I know that like getting the JP Morgan Reserve is not Chase private client. It's a whole other thing with JP Morgan private whatever. Like they've got to fix that. So Flying Ryan, thanks for the membership. You can thank Mike Newland for that. Interesting. Not sure which Cathay Pacific Lounge that was. Private client to honestly a lot of private clients where I live use Freedom Unlimited more than the CSP CSR. All right. No, I do think so. I think for a first chapter, it's an interesting first chapter for what the remodel for Chase is going to be. I like that they're moving away from one Sapphire because now it allows you to have cohesive Sapphire cards put together. So we'll see what happens. And I also think that like if Sapphire Preferred is more than likely going to move up. Either Sapphire Preferred is moving up or they're putting a card in between Sapphire Preferred and Sapphire Reserve. Like there's going to be at least 3 Sapphire cards. And I think the Freedom cards could see some worthwhile changes as well.
I mean, there are currently 3 Sapphire cards, so all they have to do is slap the $95 on the no annual fee one now, move the preferred up in annual fee. Like they don't actually have to come out with a new card. They can just bring one back from the life support that it's on and go forward with that.
If you're bringing back that no annual fee Sapphire card and you're putting a $95 annual fee on it, it better not be 2x dining and 1x everything else. That card needs...
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be refreshed, but we literally don't know about the new Premium Delta card. We just know that they're looking to make one above the reserve. That is literally the only information that we have. Trust me, if there was more out there, I would find it.
Yeah.
Speculation station.
Yo.
Realistically, I'm thinking silver, unlimited lounge access. But at that point, is that worth what we're expecting? Probably be close to $1,000, if not over $1,000 annual fee.
I would pay $1,000 to get silver and not have to carry 2 cards.
Fair enough.
Because I carry 2 cards for silver, so if I can cut that and just have one, because $1,000 will still be a round trip airline ticket. So for me, that math still maths. For others, it might not. But if I could have 1 card and not have to have 2, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Making a better companion pass so you can take it for a long haul Delta One.
I don't think they're going to do that, but it'd be nice.
I can dream.
Probability we get a full a full grocery card. I would say, given the changes, in Sapphire Reserve, I would say probably 60% that you're going to get full grocery of some sort. Probably just going to be 3x grocery on a Sapphire Preferred refresh. But I don't know offhand. To get my Delta Platinum back without having to spend on my Delta Reserve. Just downgraded, I think. With Delta Platinum cards, you will spend less than that $1,000 to get silver though, and get 2 companion passes out of it. Yeah, it's $700 per, and you do get 2 companion passes, but
their main cabin.
Cards. Yeah, and their main cabin.
Their main cabin, which are worthless to, like, quite frankly, main cabin is worthless to me. So why would I spend $700 that's just straight $700 when I can have the reserves and actually get value out of them?
Oh, he needs to get his Delta Platinum status back without having to spend on Delta Reserve. Good luck.
I mean, you can really go into Delta stays and vacations. Like that's how you do that. Keith, yes, Surpass is 6x grocery. Yes. I'm sorry, Henry was adding Keith, but I'm answering.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is like the 3rd recording or live I've done today where like we spent all our time on the Sapphire Reserve, not even really touching the business. But like the business just sort of is. Yeah. Like the only thing is it's not 3x dining, it's 3x advertising, and it's got business focused credits, which one of them is a $100 split into $250 increment, giftcard.com.
Do we think the business reserve is going to be over a $15,000 sub? Like, do you think they're
Yes,
going to do like 250,000 points for 15,000 of spend?
I think
Like, are
Um,
they going to make it legitimately? You kind of really have to have a business for this. You cannot have a business in order to have this card.
oh, you can have a business. You're just not going to benefit
oh
the
yeah.
way of getting a welcome offer, a huge welcome offer.
I'll be honest. I think that just the business reserve here is more restrictive for for sole proprietors than the business platinum. I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing $15,000 to $20,000 in spend for 100 to 250,000 UR points. I mean, think about who they're targeting here. There's no small business that's using ZipRecruiter every 6 months,
Yeah.
Two,
right? Like,
sorry, Chad put in the chat that he's seen the sub. It's 200,000 points for 30,000 in spend.
yeah,
Chad, what is the length on that? Is it 3 months or 6 months? I mean, it doesn't matter, but
I don't think
that
they've
is
published
that
that.
is some legit
that's spin
coins.
spin.
That's a lot of gold bars.
Also,
That's
the business card having 3x dining, why does every chase card need 3x dining?
It
Why?
doesn't. It really doesn't.
Lack of
it's
3x
like Home
travel.
Alone.
We need to get over the 3x travel. 3x travel is going to happen on another card. Sapphire Reserve is no longer 3x travel. Sapphire Kiss Your Mom Goodnight is going to be 3x travel. It's not going to fit on a freaking card, but there will be a Sapphire card with 3x travel. It's just not going to be the reserve. There was a hot take of Delta Stays is better than the edit and whatever that United Hotel program is. Yeah, and you're
Delta
not getting
Stays is
credit
quite
for the
good.
nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I'm booking a Marriott or a Hyatt, why do I care? Like, why legitimately, why do I care?
You don't.
No, but anybody who like I have a Hilton
Anybody
card
who's
and I have an
booking
IHG card.
through, yeah, and you can get around things and get your status reflected upon, but like 90% of people who book through OTAs, one, don't have a hotel branded co-branded, won't have a hotel co-branded card, and two, they don't care about status. They don't care about anything like that.
Right.
But if you're someone
That's
who's,
my point. That is my
that's
point.
fine. And if all you're after is Delta status, cool. But if you're someone who's like looking to pursue status, and the
Right, but if
travel
you're
portal is
looking to
now
pursue
giving you
status,
status,
you're not gonna go through Delta Stays. Like, that's my point. Is
right?
like if you're gonna do Delta or United, like Delta Stays is quite good. I mean, you're not gonna
I'll
kind
say
of
this.
choose one or the other, but you know.
I think Delta Stays is fine, and this is the rare time where I think AA got it right, where instead of per dollar, you're earning per point, and it's reflected on your status. So I'm an executive platinum, or yeah, that right? Yeah. Um, Normally, I'm supposed to earn 11 points per dollar if I'm spending with AA. I average out about 15 to 16 points per dollar on Americans' travel portal, right? I've been doing that just to get to status so I don't have to worry about it later. But I think for somebody that wants to hit airline status, which I'll say this, don't chase airline status. It's not worth it, right?
No.
Especially if you're not doing volume flying, or you're not looking to match that status for international trips. It's just,
I think the
um,
first level of status for most people is enough. Like Delta
yeah,
Silver, I do think enough of a step up for most people that it is worth it.
I'll say this. I've had status long enough now where I see the upgrades aren't what's important to me.
I,
If we're
I
talking
okay,
about saving money, oh, I'm
let me
sorry, go ahead.
let me reverse that. Point earning, if you're booking cash, silver is worth it for the upgraded earnings. I book first class, so I don't care about upgrades. Like I give
Yeah.
zero, like you could take the upgrades off and just not charge me for that portion of the card and I would take it. So like for me, I care about the elevated earnings. I get more earnings with silver than I do without silver. So that's what I personally care about. But I
And
get
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, I think it's their rebate programs, right? And how much can I get back, whether we're talking about cents or if we're talking about points? What is my return on spend? And then the other thing, too, once you start traveling enough, folks, like you'll realize something inevitably will go wrong. Occam's razor, if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. status is the best way to get bumped ahead of somebody. I do not go into the AA lounges. The Admirals clubs are usually, bar none, some of the worst lounges that you are going to be in. And I hate to say that, but I can guarantee you, if I'm looking at the weather and it's raining hard, or I'm checking my Flightly app and we're delayed, I'm going to the Admirals Club so I can talk to a gate agent and I can say, "Hey, how can you rebook me? Here's my status. Let's go from there." Because I know the only people that are going to be ahead of me in the queue are people that are earning more points than me in the last rolling 12 months and concierge key, which 9 times out of 10, the only people that are going to be ahead of me are people that are VPs of my company coming out of Philly, or somebody that is just an absolute whale spending on AA. And ew. So yeah,
But it's also there's a difference between work travel. Like the primary reason that that matters to you is because of work travel. Like I'm not saying that if you were on a personal trip and it happened, you wouldn't also want that, but it matters much, much more for work travel. Like for me, if I'm on a personal trip, it probably matters me getting there. The difference between like 3 hours probably matters a lot less. Because if you're not there for 3 hours, you could miss a lot of meetings or businessy things, right? And I think that's a different mindset.
I want to push back, and I think Matt will agree with me on this one. Say that grandparents or somebody is watching your kid, and
I
the
don't have a
difference of
kid. So again,
no, no,
this
no,
is
I know. But I'm just saying, like that, like when I'm talking about, like this is where it's important. If you're a parent, because there are a lot of parents that travel, and there are a lot of parents that travel without their kids. I am one of them. I take my kid places, but sometimes just stay over there with grandpa or grandma. Do your thing. Um, but like if the difference is I can get home tomorrow or I can get home on a red eye today, I'm taking that red eye today because I need to go get my kid. So
I'm
like
not
from a personal
I'm
standpoint, that's where I'm thinking of it at.
I'm not saying it's not important. I'm saying it tends to be more important if you're doing business than if you're not. Because
Fair
chances
enough.
are the reason that you're in the position for that red eye or the next day is because you were on a work trip. You know what I mean? Like I travel a fair bit. I travel on planes probably 3 to 5 times a year. I travel far more by car, but like if I chances are if I'm a day off because I take PTO for the next day anyway, I'm still fine, right? And a lot of people who do personal travel will give that buffer day versus work travel, you don't always have that option. So that's more what I was talking about. I'm not saying that it's not important for parents to get home. I just think that work travel, because of the volume of it, it tends to come up more.
Fair enough.
We had Chad join us, so thanks so much, Chad. Brian McMahon, you mentioned the Ritz-Carlton card is on the clock to be refreshed. I'm about to be eligible to get it in a month. Will I be able to get a year's of benefit? Yes. The Ritz-Carlton card, I say it's on the clock to be refreshed or discontinued outright, but like I don't know when that would be. Chase would love to bring that card back. Chase would give anything to get that card back. In 2034, I don't think Chase is going to be issuing Marriott cards anymore.
Agreed.
Marriott has made their bed. Marriott knows where they want to go. Marriott is stuck in a tripartite contract that if they could break it, I'm sure they would. And I'm sure American Express doesn't care because they're getting the business.
Yeah. And you're still going to get Marriott Gold on your cards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll nerf the Brilliant down to you. Oh, you got that status before on the Brilliant? No, you got Marriott Gold now. Big Ray having an apartment complex. Should I hit multiple subs or just ball out on one card? Go for the Sapphire business. Why not?
Yeah.
200,000, 30K. After that, open the Venture X business. Why not?
That's a lot of points. That's a lot of spend.
If it's a rehab in an apartments complex, that's a lot of spend.
That's why I'm saying.
Yeah. Chad mentions he flies Deltas one to two times a month, paying for main cabin, getting Comfort Plus for free. Booking's worth a ton. Buys the cheapest flights and the cheapest days, so hitting plat status from 30 flights a year is really hard. Makes sense. Keith dropped another $1.99 super chat. Is anyone else tired of the annual fee creep and couponing? It's here to stay.
I think it hurts you a lot less if you don't have a ton of cards. Like if your only card is the CSR or Platinum that's an annual fee card, then I don't think you actually care that much.
Yeah.
Like genuinely.
Mike said with Delta Stays, I've had no problems when there's been issues on my trip for them to help me recover whatever's been going wrong and fix it, which is good. But that's through Delta's customer service, so like that definitely helps.
Yeah.
Status matters a lot when you fly a lot. When you're paying for the flights, it matters even more. Yep. That's where the direction where everybody's going. Some back and forth. Marriott International got a bit too greedy to spread their brand to too many credit cards. To too many credit card companies. No, they wanted
merger,
Amex.
Right?
It was a merger. It was the merger with Starwood. Starwood had the American Express contract. Marriott had the Chase contract. Marriott was like it's one of those situations. It's a lot like the American Airlines bought U.S. Airways, but U.S. Airways was a bigger company, so the smaller company subsumed the bigger company, but kept the branding of the smaller company. Starwood, if I remember correctly, was bigger than Marriott, but in worse shape, but had the Amex contract. Marriott had had a contract with Chase, but because of the merger, they then got both companies. They extended it, but part of the contract when it was extended was Chase could no longer issue the Ritz-Carlton card, and the Ritz-Carlton rewards package and Starwood preferred guest and Marriott's program, which wasn't called Bonvoy, were all put together into Bonvoy.
Yep.
So
also lost the Marriott business.
Yeah, Chase lost the Marriott business card. American Express got exclusive rights to do the high-end card. Chase could still service Ritz-Carlton cards. Like the number of Ritz-Carlton cards that have been issued since the Ritz-Carlton disappearance, like I'm sure makes Chase want to reissue it publicly, but they can't break the contract. And if anyone's breaking that contract, it's Marriott to ditch Chase. Because they get far more benefits, they get far more spend, and they get far more prestige with American Express.
Yeah.
And Amex won't care if they say every card gets Amex Gold. I don't care how much money you spend on an annual fee.
Amex is fine with quasi-exclusive partners.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they prefer it.
Yeah. Source King, I don't get the love for the Ritz-Carlton. You earn Marriott points. It's just a travel card. It's just a perks card. The only benefits for is it's $300 travel credit, which is sort of as flexible as the Chase Sapphire Reserve over time because the people that you have to call to redeem it don't care. Like they'll give you whatever travel.
Source King, go watch Kiki Adventure if you want to get a perspective of somebody who loves that card, because Kiki loves that card.
And she's got
she's got multiple. So if you genuinely want to understand why somebody loves it, he is the person to go watch.
It's lounges. It's $0 annual fee, authorized users with lounge capability. And it is 85K certs.
Yeah.
And I'll say this though, I've seen it twice now, and I don't know if this is something that's indicative of a larger presence or if it's just at the timing that we were in there. But they also have secondary priority to enter Sapphire lounges to JP Morgan Reserve and Sapphire Reserve card holders. I've seen it now twice in Philly and once in Boston for this past trip that we did to London. And I think it's just interesting because, this is the issue by Chase. It is a Chase priority pass, but they have obviously put them into tiers and hierarchy of who gets in first, right? So people that were on the reserve list, on the Sapphire lounge list before me, didn't get in before me because they were using a Ritz-Carlton card and were very vocal about it. So Just also something to think about, especially as we consider like these lounges are still busy. Even if they are not busy at the moment, they will get busy.
Yeah.
You know what works? If you want to go to a Delta lounge and you have a Delta Reserve card, works every time.
Yeah.
Um, the the Sky Harbor Lounge, the Sky Harbor Sapphire Lounge now is putting together a reservation system. Only Sapphire Reserve holders are allowed to use the reservation system. JP Morgan Reserve and Ritz Carlton card holders are not able to reserve their spot.
I feel like the JP Morgan Reserve, like of
Yeah.
all cards, that's
I
a
gave you $10 million and I can't get in.
I gave you $10 million. I'm gonna go to the United Club. Fuck you.
I feel
Fair.
like yeah, they probably have a platinum also in their wallet that they can.
Oh yeah, they're fine.
Maybe a Centurion at that point, you know.
Yeah. QC Man dropped another $1.99. Thank you so much. Pouring one out for 1.5x in the Chase portal. I'd rather drink it. Arnold Alley, I was already going to sporting events, so the StubHub credit, it was organic, and that $300 travel credit, and I was already getting over $200 of the $300 out of. Yeah, that is a wash. Yeah, like right there, 3 credits, boom, you're good.
Okay.
The Capital One Lounge at JFK sounds nice for a $395 annual fee and $125 authorized user usury free. Chase, you suck. Chase gets the short end of the stick at JFK because they're using Etihad's lounge and they aren't able to expand it. There will be more Chase lounges at JFK. Terminal 1 is going to open in 2030. Terminal 6 is going to open next year.
I'm sorry, 2030?
Also, in fairness, the real issue here is that you're at JFK. So just be honest.
Also, yes.
Also that. LaGuardia is lovely.
Now it is.
Yeah. The
LaGuardia
year
15 years ago was not.
Okay, Matt, a lot of places in New York City were not good 15 years ago.
That's fair. Yes, the LaGuardia revitalization has been great. Terminal 1 is the new, like I'm talking about the new Terminal 1, like the really ridiculously huge one that they're building. What's now Terminal 1 is going to become Terminal 2. Terminal 4 remains exactly the same. That's where the Sapphire Lounge is, the Capital One Lounge, and the Centurion is. Terminal 5 is the JetBlue Lounge. It was the JetBlue terminal. God help me. Terminal 6 is going to be connected airside to Terminal 5. That's going to be JetBlue, Lufthansa, and some other Star Alliance partners. And then Terminal 8 is the One World terminal.
Chad, you can take LGA off of that second comment and it still holds true. Just so we're all on the same page.
Yeah. The only advantage that this Capital One Lounge has is that it's 24/7. Will be 24/7. But
24/7,
it's a landing,
like,
not a lounge.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say is I do kind of wish all of the airports had one 24/7 lounge because sometimes you get in super late and it would be nice.
But again, departure only. Like that is the one thing Sky Clubs will hold over all other lounges is you can use them on arrival and departure. No other lounge lets you do that.
Love me my Delta.
I feel new changes will weak the Chase trifecta. The Chase trifecta is weak to begin with. It's not a good trifecta. It is not a good set of earning cards. They do not earn well. So anything to fix the trifecta would be fine.
I would love this. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love the Hilton Diamond is the one I particularly care about. But I might even stay at a Marriott, like through Marriott, if I had platinum. Maybe.
I mean, it'd be you and 57 other platinum holders.
But I tend to get it just a standard king room, so I'm not gonna have to I don't care about the upgrade game. I buy what I want, so I never have to worry about the upgrade game. And guess what? I am never disappointed. I also don't care what my view is because the first thing I do is close my blinds. Because why am I standing in a window looking out at things? No. Get out of here with that nonsense.
Andrea, Beltran, thanks for joining. Basically, if you only care about easy break-even credit card setup with travel lounges, then I think the credit card points game is over. Sadly, I don't know that I go that far, but it's getting harder. It's getting harder because of how popular the game has become. Look at how many people can like fully financially support themselves. Like even outside of YouTube, like how many travel blogs are there? How many blogs about credit cards are there? Like it's been growing for a while, and eventually bubbles burst. We're just starting to see the beginning of it.
It's going to burst, and then it's going to suck for a while, and then it's going to get cool again. Like that's the cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say this. I don't think it's fair to say that we are coming to the end of a bubble burst. Think about like what credit cards looked like 10 years ago. We didn't have subs nearly this high. We didn't have multipliers nearly as high. If you'd have told somebody in 2010 or 2015 that they could get 5x on flights or 4x on dining and groceries, everything, they would have called you silly. Right. So like I think that one thing dries up, but we always will find another loophole or another well to drink from.
Yep. Chad mentions at the moment the Venture X and Platinum are fairly easy to break even. Well, you're gonna have one of those cards get updated in 3 months. Cards get updated every 4 to 5 years. 2021 is when the Venture X came out. Next year the Venture X is going to get wrecked.
Yeah. I don't know if I believe that. I don't. Because I think Capital One is going to be so focused on Discover. I don't think they're going to completely upend their card lineup on the 5-year cycle. I think it's going to be a couple more years. No, I think when they do their big refresh, it's going to, but I think it's going to be a smaller refresh at the 5-year mark because they've got their hands full.
I mean, 5-year. The easiest ways to wreck that card right now, without touching the annual fee, is taking away the 10,000 anniversary points.
Yeah.
And
if you leave the $300 travel credit, like it would suck. It's $100, but I say sure.
I don't think they take it away. I think they'll probably put it behind a paywall. And if we're being honest, I think Capital One's probably going the way of Netflix. And when I say that, they don't want you to have a bunch of authorized users. They want you to just have your own card. Now, granted, if you can get the card, but I think that's the kind of direction we're moving there.
Yeah. And Craig, I don't think it's going to. As Matt says, they're not going to take 3 bites of that apple.
No, fair enough.
Jim's Raglan considering dumping the Venture X for the new Sapphire Reserve, but keep due to the plethora of stores with Capital One. Yeah, right now you can get a ton of Capital One offers and getting miles back, and don't do the shops. The Chase, shop through Chase. Do not do the shops. The shops is stupid. Shop through Chase is the way you want to go, but you have to do like 17 clicks to get to shop through Chase. It's annoying.
Also, I meant the Craig in the chat, not you, Craig. So just so we're clear.
Yeah. Still a keeper card, still easy to justify for however much longer.
That was the comment I was talking about.
Yeah, when does the US bar come back? Never. Never. You can't put a third hockey team in Atlanta. You can't put a third hockey team. You can't put a second hockey team in Phoenix. You can't bring back the US bar. There are things that just don't work.
Oh, I just checked the hockey score. Oh.
Well, Brad Marchand's going to raise another cup.
As kind of a Boston fan, that makes me happy, but I work with a couple of Oilers fans, so I feel bad. Especially since they did this last year.
You're going to do it again next year. The US bar is dead. Long live the US bar. This is coming from Spathco.
Spathco, one day they're going to actually kill it and you won't be able to use it anymore.
I mean, it'll be 2047, but yeah. Craig, does anything replace the US bar? US Bank needs to learn how to actually be a bank again.
The Apple Card earning MR points. That's what replaces it.
Apple's card's not going to earn MR points.
Yeah, but it would fix so many things in the system.
Keep dreaming. So
let me have my hope, Matt.
You can have your hope. I'm just here to smash it.
I know. The Mets fan in you.
2006, 2007, 2008, fundamentally.
86.
You got 2004. You got 2011. And you got 2007. You've gotten 3 championships.
86. Before I was born, but I will never forget it.
Yeah, okay, 86, before I was born. I don't get to enjoy that memory. Does anything replace the US bar? So here's the fun thing. US Bank was going to go all in on Smartly. All in. They were going to do a Smartly version of the US Bank Altitude Reserve. Smartly fell apart. And they don't know what to do because of how broken everything was when Smartly fell apart. US Bank has set themselves back about 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
They don't know how to credit card right now. They barely knew how to credit card before. They don't know how to credit card now.
I think they should turn all the US altitude reserves into shield cards.
RJ just randomly picking fights here on Stack Your Live.
Why not?
Why would Chase start with their highest annual fee card to make changes not to
marketing?
Make changes not at their lower not at the lower tier. Marketing, yeah. I think they should have just done everything all at once and just ridden the high all summer. But who am I? But it's what on the internet. Anyone thinking about
comment?
Yep. Anyone thinking about City Advantage Executive World Elite card? No.
No. I've been denied twice and kiss my ass.
You really?
I don't understand it. I cannot.
So is this your Tariq's Explorer card? This is your white whale?
No. I get Admiral's Club access from status. I just wanted it for 10x points on cars and hotels, but at this point I said, yeah, fuck it. I don't care. Sorry for cursing.
Yeah, it's fine. We're coming up to the watershed. It's fine.
You can fly Delta though. So you're all set, Spathka.
Yep. Chad, all respect for RJ out the window. Next.
I'm mostly just teasing Spathko because I knew he was in the chat.
Prediction for Venture X will raise the annual fee. Yeah, I just don't know where they're going to move the annual fee to. And just raising the annual fee, keeping I don't know.
They could do a $500 credit in the portal, raise it to $695.
Maybe. They would end up leaving with about what do you call it? About $95 per card. Lord Stanley weeps when he has to go to Florida. Dude, he lives in Florida now. Florida.
Weeps.
Tampa. No. Tampa,
so he's like every other person from the north. He goes to Florida to retire.
Yeah. He's fine. Another sign that US Bank isn't credit carding well, adding a foreign transaction fee to the Altitude Go. Yeah. And doing so with the quickness.
With haste.
Double. Yes. Double adding in another $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Let's get Matt over 2K subs and stack your points over 500. Yes. I encourage this wholeheartedly. At the moment, I am at 1,992 subscribers, and stack your points is at 411. So 89 to go for 500. 8 for me. That would be cool. But I think overall the Sapphire Reserve changes are a bit of a shock to the system for Sapphire Reserve holders. I can live with it. I luckily enough already, like before I had the Sapphire Reserve, had a card that if the Sapphire Reserve ever got rid of 3x travel, I was going to be fine. But I do think it's the beginning of a massive change for Chase. Sapphire Preferred will be interesting. They're getting rid of one Sapphire rule. I think we're going to see RJ. Thank you.
I wanted you to get there. I wanted you to get there on the live, Matt. I did it for the live.
Well, those are membership, not subscribers.
Oh, damn. Oh, well.
Yep. But I appreciate it. So
darn, I made more people more likely to watch your channel and therefore tell people about it. Darn.
Yep. Lonnie interview dropping it in about an hour. Because that one's just going to be uncut. For members, you get my uncut interviews. And then I'll cut it down. And I still got to cut the show. So, yay. But Sapphire Preferred now will be interesting. Ink Preferred, I think, will be interesting. 3x Travel will be on a Sapphire card. I don't know what Sapphire card it will be, but it will be on a Sapphire card. That's what I'm going to put on a t-shirt, and then on the back just say, I hope.
I hope is missing from a lot of your declarations lately, friend.
There's no way they're giving up completely on travel. You're ceding ground to the green card. Anyway, any final thoughts, Craig, RJ?
Give it time.
Yeah. Give it time. It's okay to have a lot of big feelings right now, but give it time.
Right. They're not. The Sapphire Reserve is no longer a travel card. Don't think of it as a travel card. It's now a lifestyle card. The Platinum.
That's what I'd say.
Platinum is not a travel card. The Platinum is a lifestyle subscription that just happens to give you lounge access.
I would say the Platinum is a travel card. With the multiplier being 5x for direct flights and through the portal and the statuses it gives, I think it's a travel subscription wrapped in a credit card? Yes. It's even a lifestyle subscription wrapped in a credit card, but it is a travel card. As a holder of the card, I get override veto over you, Matt. And
I'm really craning my neck to see that point of view.
It's still the only high-end multiplier is on travel.
Planes.
Yes, planes are in fact travel, Matt.
But I mean,
planes
Sapphire Reserve flights and travel direct. If they gave me 5x on hotels as well, direct with Amex, I'd say it's a full-on travel card. But for me, this is more a lifestyle card, personally, subscription.
6 of one, half dozen of another.
Did anyone discuss product changing before 623? Here, no, we haven't. Here's the rundown I can give you on that. If you product change before 623, you are locking yourself into $550 annual fee. You are getting the current benefits on the card. You will gain benefits either in October, as written on the Chase website, or possibly earlier if Chase is correct, and if Chase reps are correct in terms of that. Anyway, you lock in the 550 fee. If you apply for a new card on 624, you're going to pay the $795 annual fee. You're going to get whatever the welcome offer is going to be, and you get the benefits immediately, including IHG Platinum, including all the other benefits as mentioned. So if you want to lock in the 550 annual fee and then possibly wait, product change. If you want the new welcome offer and you want to test the I'm blinking. And you want to test the new benefits. Yeah. Then you apply on 624. So would you say it's not worth it to get the Ritz card? You got to wait a year, and who knows what's going to happen in a year. Like, you get the Boundless now, you wait a year, and then they blow up the card. We'll see.
And you have to have a $10,000 limit.
Yeah, but getting a boundless, it's pretty safe. You're going to get a 10,000 limit. Chase has disappointed me. Anything with lounge access is a travel card. Sure.
Status and lounge access, I think, do go fairly far in travel category.
Cutting coupons on coupon book lifestyle cards. Chad says it's a travel card. Spathco says it's a travel card. Saw a data point elsewhere that Chase couldn't allow it since the annual fee would post on July 1st, which was after the change. Okay. Product change today. Product change tomorrow. If you're going to product change sooner. So just curious. ZipRecruiter for the win. ZipRecruiter lame. Yeah, you're also getting the Amex Business Platinum card and you're not worrying about the Indeed credit. Like, whatever. If you're not going to use
credits
credit,
do actually have to be for businesses, guys. If we're labeling this a business card, some credits should actually be for businesses.
Yes. Get the 5 FNA sub, wait it out. Yeah, you can do that. I just don't know what the Sapphire Reserve I just don't know what the Chase Ritz-Carlton looks like next year. Maybe it's still there. Maybe it's not. That's all. So, yeah. Okay, don't get those cards. If you're not going to use those credits, don't worry about the credits. As simple. We'll renew on July 1st in a few days of the current 95. I've also got plenty of time to see what the new CSP annual fee will go up to. Yep. So there you go. All right, y'all. I think we'll cut it there. Oh, hold on. The only business-specific multiplier in CSR business is advertising. Chase missed an opportunity to make shipping a 4X category. I think they've got another card in the works. And another refresh in the works. And they've got that stupid Ink Premiere. Like, they could turn that into something useful. So, like, wait. Anyway, that's going to do it for Stack Your Live tonight. I have a podcast to edit. I have an interview to edit, and I'm sure I'm going to put together some more videos.
It's also 11 o'clock at night, so at some point,
Yeah.
I think the staffing credits the thing apply to then it's more useful. That's a business card. The Sapphire Reserve for Business and the Amex Platinum Business are business cards. You can put a $5 credit on the Ink Preferred. Like, they expect you to be business cards. Anyway, it's 11 o'clock at night. We're going to sign off now. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined us in the on the lives. We had as many as 80 folks at one point tonight, so appreciate all of that. Everyone who gifted memberships, thank you so much for that. Super chats, thank you so much. And businesses hire contractors. Yep.
Matt, deep breath. It's okay. We're gonna get through this.
Anyway, yeah. So enjoy your night, folks. We will talk to you later. And hopefully there is a program in the morning.